There she is, looking as pretty as ever. You know, I haven't been been able to do any real video this week because one, it's been raining and really freaking cold. As you can see, it's still a little gloomy outside and a little wet, but I figured today would be a good day to get us some video in there. Sorry, neighbors. I don't know why, but I always love when the vapor comes out. I'll always love that. Whew. It's a chilly day today. It's a brisk 44 degrees right now. And we're just gonna let the Mustang warm up. So like I said, this video is be the first thing that I would do if I had to buy this Mustang GT all over again. And how would I go about it? What are some of the things that I would change? And I'll even get into some of the stories about the Mustangs that I almost bought before I got this one. So the first thing that I would do, again, this is experience from living with the car and not just reading and just doing stuff on the internet. The first thing that I would do is I would determine what the criteria is that I would want this car to meet. So what would make me pull the trigger on purchasing this car? As a preface, I would like to throw out there that I think I made out pretty well getting this car. For what I did. It was like a diamond in the rough almost. There were a lot of people that wanted this car. I just happened to be one of the first people to actually come out and get it when I ended up getting it. The first thing was, if I was gonna buy a car that was an older car, not older, when I say older, I mean like 4 or 5 years older, because this is a 2020 and I bought this in 2025, the beginning of 2025. I knew that if I bought a used Mustang, I was going to run the risk of obviously the person who had it, you know, basically dogging the car out before I ever got a chance to drive it. I knew that I wanted that Mustang to have as few miles as possible while still not necessarily being brand new. I started at like 30,000 miles. That was like my minimum. I went on Edmunds.com, but my criteria was no more than, I think, the 2019 or 2018. I think I had 2018 model. I don't think I had a price point set because for me, it wasn't necessarily about the price point as much as it was about just getting my values worth. So that was like the baseline criteria for me. Obviously the GT, and then it came down to the GT Premium versus just a regular base model GT. That leads me into my second reason. The second thing that I would do differently when purchasing, or at least consider from a different perspective, is I would not purchase a car that had an accident prior to. I know that's gonna raise a lot of red flags for people. I get it. I know it raised a red flag for me. You'll understand why I ended up pulling the trigger on this car. And I know Carfax, even though it tells you, you know, stuff that happen, obviously things can happen, people don't report. And the price point, I think it was sitting at like literally 30,000 on the nose. Usually when I saw these Mustangs and they had 38,000 miles on them, they were anywhere from $36,000 to $40,000. A 2020 at least would have been 36 to 40. The first thing that popped in my head was it probably had an accident. I go look at the Carfax and it showed a minor accident, like at that point it's 2025, minor accident in I think like 2022 or 2023. I just kind of did like some deductive reasoning. In my head, I'm just like, what are all the reasons that this car would have been in a car accident and only still have 38,000 miles, but only have minor damage? I was like, it couldn't have been totaled out, couldn't have been a salvage or anything like that. The way that I was thinking in my head was whoever had this car probably had to take really good care of this car, even though there was a minor accident. The thing that I would do differently now, if I were to purchase this car again, I probably would not buy a car that wasn't an accident. I haven't had any problems with this car specifically due to that accident that I can tell. I probably just wouldn't unless it was a situation like mine, and that's why I said it was kind of like a diamond in the rough, because it was one of those cars where like if there's an accident reported on the car, it's going to depreciate its value. So for me, like, it's a good deal for me, you know, in the sense that not that I'm looking for a cheap car, but I'm just looking for the best deal that I can get. This car was in a minor accident. I can deal with, you know, a little bit of like a fender bender or something like that. If it got reported to the insurance, I can deal with that, you know, but maybe I'm getting hit with it over the head a little bit on the insurance. But I mean, the car is in great conditions. Here's the other thing that I would do differently. I did not buy this car from like a big dealership. I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. I got it from a dealership called Southern Auto Imports near Stone Mountain, Georgia. You know, that was another red flag for me. As I was purchasing the car, like I did all of my due diligence. I call him my big brother. He works for a Ford dealership. And so before I even got the car, I took it to him and had his people service the car. But as I was looking on Edmunds and like the way that I was rationalizing it in my head, and of course sometimes rationalization can get you in trouble. You rationalize irrational thoughts. As I was rationalizing it in my head, I was just like, look, the car is the car itself. The dealership didn't make the car. If the car is a good car, it's gonna be good, whether it's here or whether it's at Terry Cullen or it's at Allen Vigil Ford, whatever. I probably wouldn't buy it from a smaller dealership because no hate on the small I know everybody's gotta get their money how they get it, and you gotta start somewhere. So Southern Auto Imports, I heard some horror stories about it. At one time I pulled up in the parking lot and somebody was like, F them people or whatever. I didn't have a bad experience, but you can have bad experiences at these types of dealerships because, you know, they've got their margin, they've got their quota that they're trying to hit, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, they are looking out for themselves. They might tell you that they're looking out for you, but I mean, in a sales position, in a sales job, a sales business, like, they'll tell you that they're going to tell you what you want to hear. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm probably not the best negotiator. I'm not that kind of person. I don't really, my mom is, but I'm not. But I do feel like I probably could have got a better deal, and I probably could have had a better negotiating opportunity if I didn't go to such a small dealership. The flip side of that conversation is this dealership, Southern Auto Imports, they like specialize in having sports cars. So that was one of the green flags that raised for me why I wasn't afraid of buying this Mustang from them, is because like one of their niches is getting sports cars. They have like, you know, some Corollas and some other stuff in there, you know, just I guess to make sure that they can meet their quotas for the month. And they had like GTRs and all these other kinds of stuff. So like I was fine with, you know, purchasing from that dealership because of like just the few minor details that I was able to notice before I purchased the car. And even though like I feel like everywhere is gonna have a bad review here and there, it's just the way that the world works, man. You can't please everybody. And I was just hoping that I was one of the guys that made it out alive and didn't have a horror story on the end of it. And one of the other things that I would probably do differently when purchasing this car, get it completely bone stock. I'm gonna see if I still have some video or some pictures of this car when I first got it. But it had on that little side panel window there, it had like these like American flag sticker kind of things. You can still see through it, obviously. It had louvers on the back. I've always been a fan of louvers, but my opinion on having louvers changed as I had the louvers on the back of here. I wanted a car that was completely bone stock so I could make all the modifications to it myself that I wanted to make. You just, when cars are modified and you buy them, you don't really know what you're gonna get. Luckily, the modifications, as far as I can tell, they weren't huge modifications. So for me, like I was able to, you know, live with the modifications that it had. It just had a Ford Performance exhaust and the JLT oil catch can. Other than the exterior modifications, which are obviously easy to remove, it had like some of the badging was the dark black the black badging. I don't think that came on this car originally. You know, you don't want a car that someone has had the opportunity to beat up if you're gonna get it used. I'm just it is what it is, because like that life of that car is probably not going to be as long, you know, like if you're buying it used. I think this body still has the opportunity to get bought, as opposed to the S650, because in my opinion, the S650 body just does not hit the same way that the body of this Mustang does, and I think they did a worse off job. They didn't ask me for my opinion when they put the car out, so. But anyways, guys, I thank you for watching the videos, man. You know, if you enjoy this kind of content, if you've got any ideas, go ahead and comment down below, or, you know, subscribe to the channel, man. I'm gonna be trying, like I said, putting out more and more content each week. My plan was to do stuff every day. I'm finding out that that is harder to do than I anticipated. I'm not gonna give up putting videos out, but as long as I keep getting the engagement, man, the videos will keep coming out. And so yeah, man, I appreciate the views, I appreciate the subscribers, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys here in a little bit. Oh, and I almost forgot, we can open her up a little bit. Nothing like some V8 power, baby.